Good afternoon, afternoon. It's noon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As you see, our show is now revamped to Good News and Reviews, and we're kicking it off with a very special episode. Hey, Kathleen, thank you so much for joining me. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me again. I'm outside today. It's very nice out, so I thought I'd be out here while we do the interview today.
Absolutely. And, thanks as always for being available. We appreciate you. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you're tuning in, we're starting it off with a special episode. This one is a kind of exclusive interview. We're going to be speaking with a gentleman who's an evangelist. His name is Denis Obyedkov. I do believe I pronounced that last name correctly. He'll correct me if I didn't. But he's an evangelist with Heart Ignited Ministries. And he worked in conjunction with Christ for All Nations here in Orlando, of course, which is run by Daniel Kalenda. So they actually did some ministry in the Ukraine, and we're going to have that in-depth conversation with him about his experience over there and that sort of inter-ministry experience as well. So without further ado, let's bring in Denis. How's it going? Oh, one second. Here we go. There you go. How's it going, Denis?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, Kathleen, the floor is all yours. You can ask away.
All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to get adjusted here. I'm sorry about that. Good to see you, Denis. So you were just in the Ukraine area, just helping to send some relief. And we wanted to find out your experience, what the ministry entails, what you guys have done to help those in need out there. And I know you ran into some experiences and wanted to find out a little bit about that as well. So I guess my first question would be, what propelled you to head out there during the wartime in a war zone to help people? Because it's pretty dangerous.
I can start with that. I was planning actually to head to Africa, Rwanda, Africa. We bought our plane tickets. The team was on ground already. It was, prepared. And the day before I was supposed to fly out to Africa, the Lord just spoke to me clearly. It was one of those signs that it's the Lord speaking. And he said, you are going to Ukraine because the war started. And I just, I prayed and I said, Lord, how, why am I going to go there? Maybe it's dangerous. I have no idea what's going on. And I understand these are our people, and I speak Russian, and I was born in Uzbekistan, lived in Russia, moved to America. So I've never been to Ukraine before. And the Lord just spoke to me clearly that I got sick to my stomach and I started weeping. And then I said, I need confirmation. And then my wife called me. She didn't know about this. She called me and she said, I feel like the Lord is saying you need to go to Ukraine, and
wow,
you need to be. So I changed my flight tickets, and the next day I flew out to Ukraine. It was on May 5th, I believe.
Wow. You flew out to, you mean April 5th?
No, now my dates are all messed up. I was there for 3 weeks. I know that I was there for 3 weeks, and it was May 5th probably.
Well, not yet. May 5th is coming up, so I remember you were
March 5th.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm getting my stuff mixed up now because I'm still trying to figure things out here on the ground.
No worries. So tell me a little bit about the experience. I know that you said one of the days you were there that you actually encountered what was a bomb nearby.
Yes, we were in Poland first. We came to Poland, and when we came to Poland for about first 4 days, I was preaching the gospel on the trains. There was a lot of trains coming in from Lviv, Ukraine, into Poland, Krakow, Poland, and then they would go to Warsaw, and then some of them would go to Germany and other countries throughout Europe. And then after 4 days, when we preached the gospel on the trains, it was radical. It was amazing. We cried a lot. My good friend that flew there with me, we were helping the children, the woman, and we were preaching the gospel and carrying the food inside that the soldiers and other people from Poland were giving. So we were putting it into the train, and we wept a lot. We would actually close up into those little bathrooms inside the train and cry for a little bit and then walk out and continue doing stuff. But after 4 days, I had an opportunity to go inside Ukraine, to be on the border, Poland and Ukraine. So I was inside Ukraine. We had a little hotel there, a cabin, and that's where we stayed. And then after a couple days, we actually early in the morning, we felt the shaking. And then a lot of us, when we woke up, we talked about it. First, I thought it was some kind of earthquake because my bed shook a little bit, but it was this weird feeling. But
Wow.
yeah, so we heard the news that about 20 miles, 25 miles away from us, there was bombing in Lviv, and you feel it. But that doesn't stop us because we are evangelists. We are like the Navy SEALs. That's how we've been trained at Christ for All Nations. We go first. We go where there's a need, and my heart was just there because I knew there was thousands and thousands, 100,000 of people running to the border. The woman and the man that was taking their wives and kids to the border, and then they had to say their goodbyes to them.
Mm-hmm.
We had to experience that, see how the woman will cry and the man will cry, and that they had to leave their kids. And some of the kids were hugging their dads and saying, "Daddy, don't leave." And it was just heartbreaking, but at the same time, I needed to be there. Maybe those people didn't really need me, but I needed to be there. And when I saw that, and that was a great opportunity for us to preach the gospel to those people, because they lost everything. They were just running with no hope, nothing. And we preached the glorious gospel, and a lot of, I would say, thousands and thousands of people got saved. And we were there, like I said, if I mentioned before, we were there with Awakening Europe. We partnered up with them, collaborated with Awakening Europe, that is led by Ben Fitzgerald from Germany. And some of the nights that we were there, it was just, it was touching. It got very cold. It was negative 12 Celsius. And it was very cold. And we saw those women and kids just standing in line. We were running till we preached the gospel till 9 or 10. We would hit every bus that would come to the border. We would get on the bus and preach the gospel. There was about from 50 to 100 people on each bus. And then we, at night, I couldn't just go to sleep. So till 3 in the morning, we were just helping those people, wrapping them up into this foil that keeps them warm. And then we saw some woman undressing their kids and sticking them under their clothes to warm them up. It was that coldest night. It was the second night I was there. And then I stayed there for about 2.5 more weeks. I kept changing my flight because I just couldn't leave. I knew I needed to be there. And so far, I believe the ministry seen over 17,000 salvations. People said yes to Jesus. Wow. And it was just amazing. The gospel, the power of the gospel just hit them. It was amazing. For me, I know these are my people, and sometimes we are, hard-headed and a little bit prideful maybe. And it was just so amazing to see these Slavic people raising their hands up and crying and saying, yes, we want Jesus. This is the only way. We've been running away from him. We thought our life, we had money. Some people had car dealerships, businesses, and some of them just lost everything. And they said, yes, this is the only way we can get through is with Jesus. And yes, because he saves, Jesus saves. He loves us so much. He died on a cross, shed his precious blood for us, and he arose on the third day. He's alive so we can live today.
That's powerful. Awesome. So the impact that you had while you were there, even though you were spreading the good news, you were also giving out resources, helping these families. And you said you had to take breaks to go cry. I can't even imagine the impact that would make, seeing people in a war-torn area just surviving. And did you see children displaced from their parents or families or, that sort of thing as well? Or did you see? Okay.
Yes,
And
we've seen a lot of grandparents that were taking their kids, their grandchildren to the border because their dad or mom are in military. They had to stay behind, or a lot of dads had no moms, so they just came with kids and they had to go back to fight, and then they would just leave them with their grandparents or grandma with children. So yeah, I seen a lot of families, and then we seen some families that were waiting for their, we met a lady that was waiting for her sister's daughter because her sister, I believe, got killed, and then her daughter stayed in the shelter, and then she ran out somehow, and then she came. She was only, I believe, was like 14 or 15 years old. So I saw them meeting each other. They were just crying and hugging, and yeah, it was just, there's a lot of things that we stopped there's a lot of human trafficking going on, and we actually, when we walked around, we prayed and we said, God, let us help these people. How can we see this? And the Lord would just show it to us. We saw some men from other countries that would just stand there and ask, we're here to help women. We want to help women that are single with kids under 10 years old. And we understand that it's a human traffickers, because there's no men or kids. They can't defend themselves. So these people will take them, and then they just, you never hear from them again. So
that's terrible.
we would go find local police. We would tell them what's going on, and we would come back there and find those guys, and the police will take care of them. And then there was another situation. Same thing happened where a full bus of women, I believe there was 35 women that they took, and one of the women met our team, and she left her phone number, and they took her phone number. And then when they crossed Poland, somehow she managed to text or call, and she said that they are in some building, and they're videotaping them, and they took their passports away. And our team knew right away. Matthew McCluskey was involved, and they went there and actually saved those 35 women from human trafficking.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to take a break right now, and we want to come back to you and ask some more questions. Thank you so much, Denis.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You guys stay tuned. The conversation continues.
One of the things I love about Bass Pro is they have 3 great ways to shop.
You can head into one of their awesome stores, visit BassPro.com, or get great gear from that catalog Johnny Morris sends out. Hi, here's your package. Bass Pro Shops, where commitment, passion, and the great outdoors all come together.
Why would you shop anywhere else?
And welcome back, guys, to this edition of Good News and Reviews with myself and Kathleen. And we are here with our guest, Denis Obyedkov of Heart Ignited. I keep saying United, Heart Ignited Ministries.
But we are united.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Denis. I did have a quick question. I wanted to piggyback off of one of the things you mentioned earlier about you seeing children that unfortunately had to part ways with their fathers, them begging their dads, don't leave. As someone who is a father yourself, you have, your beautiful kids. How did that impact you personally when you were there witnessing that?
To be honest with you, when I looked at that situation, I just realized that, I was praying that these dads will come back home, the kids will come back home and see their fathers. But when I was watching those kids, it's somewhere inside my heart, I thought about that maybe this is the last second, the last minute they see their dad. And it's just so hard because even here in America, we work and see a lot of people that have that spirit of rejection because their fathers left them or their fathers are in jail, or just the kids that grew up without dads. And it was just so painful and heartbreaking for me to watch that the kids were crying, and especially the girls. The girls were crying, the little girls, because their dad had to go back home to fight. And every time those men would leave, I would actually stop them and encourage them and tell them that I have 5 kids and, I know what it is, but that we are praying for them. And then we would tell them the gospel about the Jesus, the Father love, and most of them would accept Jesus into their heart. And same thing on the other side, our girls from our team would preach and just talk to the woman and the kids and tell them that that there is the love of the Father, that you have Heavenly Father that loves you so much, and that you will be okay. On the other side of that border, everything will be okay. There's people that will help you. They'll feed you. They'll take you to their house. But on this side, there's still war, and that's how we would talk to the man, would say, but on this side, there's still war. There's no peace. And maybe inside your heart, there's war, there's peace, there's hate, unforgiveness. But God said, come to me, all that are weary and heavy hearted, I'll give you rest. But in order to get that rest, you have to know the Father. And the Bible says no one comes to the Father but only through Jesus Christ. So when we receive Jesus, we confess with our mouth that Jesus Christ is our Lord, we will be saved. And God is on our side. He'll keep us in our hand. And yes, it was just, I see them crying. We saw them smiling after that, laughing. There was hope. We brought a lot of hope to them. That's what Jesus would do. We just prayed every morning, said, Jesus, give us your eyes the way you see this world, the way you see these people. What do they need? We can only do so much, but speak through us. Just anoint us. Let the anointing flow through us so these people feel the love of Jesus. And it happened. We saw so many people that were singing with us. A lot of people are smiling and laughing. And it was amazing.
Denis, I love what you guys did in bringing hope to these people. And like you said, that is something that God brings, is hope. There are people that are watching that say, well, if God is love, why would he even allow this to happen? There's war, there's things that happen to people. And, we're talking about you bringing relief to Ukraine. But since you brought up God, what would you say to somebody who maybe says, well, God could have stopped this, or it's God's fault? How could you encourage somebody in that?
Well, this is going to be a long preaching probably, but I'm not going to go there.
You can make it short.
Yes, and we all understand that, God gives us, actually, we can choose. We have a free will. We can choose. And we all know the story about Adam and Eve, about the sin, how the sin came into the world. So people have a right to choose, and there's evil in this world. There's a lot of evil, but God works individually. So like we said, when we were there, and a lot of people were standing in this line, thousands of people, and it was getting cold. And a lot of ministries were there that were, some of them were Christian, a lot of them were not Christian, and they were passing around, food, candy, hot soup, hot chocolate, and tea. And they would actually get mad at us. They said, why are you preaching about Jesus? Nobody cares. We have to give them the soup. We have to give them the food. They're hungry. And after we gave them hope, the message of hope, a lot of those people actually told us, and rebuked the other team and said, you know what? Thank you for what you guys are doing, giving us the soup and everything. It's important. But what these guys are doing is more important, because we can take your soup only to the border and they're not going to let us take it through. But we can take that good news with us, because a lot of people got healed. Literally, we were praying for healing. There was actually physical healing where people physically got healed. A lot of people walked for miles, carrying backpacks for miles. They were in pain. And after we prayed for them, literally, they got instantly healed. Well, we've seen a lot of that. And then they would actually witness to us saying, thank you for telling us about Jesus. Now we have more boldness. We have more hope. We are more happy. We actually forgave. We had so much testimonies where people were fighting, they were cussing, cursing, and just hating on the Russian people, talking bad about the president. I mean, they had suicide thoughts. And then when we preached Jesus to them, I told them my testimony, what God did to me, and that the devil wants to destroy your life. When they gave their life to Jesus, they said, what is happening to me? I'm so happy right now. I want to laugh. I forgave everybody. There was people actually forgiving the Russian people, and they're saying we forgive them. We heard that too. It's just that love and peace and joy of Jesus would come in, and they would say, yes, we can take that through the border with us. And now we have more boldness. We are not scared. We know God is with us. We're going to go through this. We're going to find a place to live. Our husbands are going to be okay. We're going to come back home and start a new life. And it was just amazing to see. And God works individually. There's so many testimonies coming from the cities of Ukraine where actually pastors, we spoke to some pastors, they said how they were hiding under a church. And when the pastor got out, he said that everything around him was bombed, all the buildings were destroyed, but the church was still standing, not even a broken window, and all of them were inside that church. And then when the army came, they asked us, is there anybody inside? They thought they were going to get killed. And when the soldier came in, he saw that there was kids and women in there. He left them alone and he just walked away. And he said, hi, don't come out. And God kept them alive. So I believe God works individually. There's so many stories, people that are believing in God, that walk with God and believe in Jesus. God is keeping them safe. There was another story how same thing, they were hiding under a building and a whole church, and there was no light, no nothing. They had a couple gallons of water and a couple boxes of cookies, and that's it. And he said all they did, they prayed and worshiped. People were smiling, and we were just worshiping. We had a church service under there for a long time. It was over 2 weeks with no light, with no nothing. And they said every morning when we would go look at the water, those gallons of water were always full of water, and those cookies would never end. And he said when they got there, it was only like 5 boxes of cookies and 5 gallons of water. But God continued to give them food, even though they didn't have it. It was just coming and coming and coming, and they're all alive. And there's testimonies after testimonies like this where God shows up to those who believe in him.
That's wonderful. Well, we're going to take another commercial break right now. And please forgive me of this video recording here. I'm having a little bit difficulties, but what you're saying is magnificent, and that's what matters. So we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back for some more questions, Denis.
All right.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
And we are back. Absolutely. Yeah. So this has been a pretty awesome conversation with Denis Obyedkov of Heart Ignited Ministry. Made sure I said it correctly. And, thank you for sharing your story with us thus far. In terms of like some of the aid, you talked over it a little bit, but kind of give our audience a clearer picture, especially in terms of working with some of those other ministries that you were able to work with there. Like, was your ministry responsible for a certain type of supply that was brought to Ukraine, or did you guys have care packages? How did that work, especially with a lot of the other ministries that you worked with?
Yes. So right now, at this moment, there's so many. There's probably close to 50 different ministries that we know that we speak to. They're calling, and all these people in those ministries, some of them have relatives in Ukraine. Some of them have pastors and that they know. So they always keep in contact. And some of the pastors just call and say, we need this and that and that. And I know that Awakening Europe, they brought a lot of food. They brought trucks of food. I believe one time we were talking, they said they brought 40 tons of food into Ukraine, into Lviv. And then some teams went into actually Lviv when the bombing happened. They were they took loads of Bibles because even the military guys, they wanted Bibles. They needed Bibles and they wanted them. They said, bring them to us. And I know till this day, there's a lot of pastors that are calling from Poland and Germany. And they said, we have full vans of food and medicine. Where should we take it? And some people from our team, they knew exactly who to contact them with, and they would take it there. They took a lot of supplies until this day. I believe Flame of Fire Ministry is still there. They have their own buses that are taking medicine and food to all the cities. I believe they're driving all the way closer to east of Ukraine. So they're going deeper into Ukraine where the war zones are, where the bombings happen already. So they're meeting with local pastors and they're taking a lot of food there. We have a team, Evelyn Smain. She has a lot of connections in Latvia, in Germany, in Poland with pastors, and they send her information about where that they can take people into their churches. And so she's sitting there and actually sending out information where people can call and contact, who can pick them up. So there is a lot of people not just preaching the gospel. This is our main point, is to preach the gospel as evangelists. But also, like I said, even when I was there, I knew I was there to preach the gospel, give them a message of hope. But at the same time, my heart was to help those people to carry those babies, to carry the babies across the border at night. And there was a lot of things we did. We saw trucks coming in. We have people from our team that they got so much support from Alaska. They came and they bought a huge Sprinter, one of those vans, for $20,000 in Poland. And they are using it, and then they're going to send it into Ukraine and leave it there. Another friend of mine from Washington, he bought a van with his own money, and we drove it there while we were in Ukraine, and they're going to leave that for the pastors to continue using and taking refugees out from Ukraine. And there was a lot of other ministries that were collaborating with us that are still doing the same thing. Until this day, some of them returned back from Ukraine, and they are in Mexico, on the border of Mexico and the United States. In Tijuana, they are helping Ukrainian refugees, and they're doing the same thing. They're feeding them, they're preaching the gospel, they're helping them fill out documents. And like I said, there's teams everywhere, people that just got up, left their jobs, and said, we need to do this. We need to help.
Dennis, I want to ask you really quick, because we got to go shortly. I do want to ask you about travel, because with the coronavirus and with people traveling, it's crazy to me that all of these people are able to go across the country and help during a war zone. So wanted to just quickly say that we've got about a minute left. So if you can talk about that, and also let us know how people can help give to these ministries that you've been helping as well.
Yes. Most of the people that wanted to go, I believe, because God sent them there. So it's supernatural. A lot of them, you just have to take a COVID test. You go there, they'll let you on. And when you get there, I believe there was a law that you have to quarantine for 7 days. But when we got to these hotels, a lot of them just, they prayed, and people they know that they were helping on the border of Ukraine. And we told them that we're actually going inside Ukraine. So they just let us go. They said, okay, go. This is once in a lifetime thing. So people were open. People were they knew exactly what was happening, that a lot of not broken rules, but just they knew that we were okay. We have a negative COVID test, so they'll just let us go there. So it's not a problem. You can just take a COVID test and go there and help. And giving a lot of people, like I said, when I made a video that I'm going to Ukraine under 24 hours, we got a lot of finances. All those finances went towards this Ukrainian trip. And also till this day, you can give. You can go to Awakening Europe, find them on Facebook, and you can give to them. You can give to Heart Ignited Ministries. You can find my information on Facebook and Instagram, which it's just my name, Denis_Obyedkov, on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it's just Denis Obyedkov, my first and last name. And you'll find information on there. I'll post it again. You can give, and then we send these money directly to other ministries that are inside Ukraine right now, like Solid Rock Ministries. And also, if you go to CFN, Christ for All Nations page, I believe they have a link where you can give. So yeah, there's a lot of information on our Facebook pages where you can give, and we are sending everything to Ukraine.
Wonderful. Well, Dennis, thank you for what you've shared. We'd like to get you back on here again, and I know some other people who you work with who have some really amazing testimonies and stories of what they've done and been through, helping the Ukrainian people in this war-torn country. So we appreciate your time today, and we'll have you back on once again. Thank you so much, Dennis.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Absolutely. God bless you. So guys, that's going to do it here for us at Good News and Reviews. That is the newly renamed show. And I mean, we'll have a lot more tacked onto it, a lot more different segments and things like that. But given the revamp and given the timeliness of this conversation, we wanted to make sure to talk with Denis and get his story and have him share with you guys, his experience. And, in case you guys had any questions, by the way, leave your comments below if you have any questions for him. If you're watching this, maybe after the live stream, maybe you catch the replay, leave your questions. We'll be glad to get your questions to him so he can answer. And then check out his page. You saw his name on the caption below, so you can be able to look him up on social media. But Kathleen, thank you so much for joining me as well. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for putting.
Oh, you froze a little bit there, Kathleen. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties, these things happen. It sounds like you can still hear me, Kathleen, but yeah, there we go. She's back. For a second. But in the meantime, though, guys, yeah, I'll wrap things up here for everyone involved. But thank you guys, as always, for tuning into our show. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all of that fun stuff. You can find us at Florida National News on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And on Facebook, there are two places where you can catch our live streams. You can catch us at Florida National News or at FNN News TV to catch any of our live streams. But make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, both of those, on YouTube, so you never miss a single interview, live stream, or news update. But thank you guys for tuning in. Good News and Reviews will come back next Thursday at noon, according to our regularly scheduled programming. So have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon. You take care, guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow and share. All right. We want to make sure to keep the word going. Take care.